Hello everyone, Ryan here, and today we are back with another episode of Introducing the Peasants to Music. Bear with me as well today, my throat is a bit off, so sorry if that is sounding a bit strange to you guys, but I will try to keep the energy up. I will try my best to keep you guys entertained, as will John, my good friend John here, who is with me as always on this podcast series. And how are you doing, John?
Better than you, from the sounds of it.
Oh, well, I asked you and you were like, oh yeah, you sound okay. Yeah, you're all right. Well, thanks for that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, when you said that, I thought something had immediately gone wrong. When you were like, bear with me, I was like, oh, for God's sake. What now? And I was like, God, I didn't interrupt you.
That would have been funny if you just interjected with that and I'm just there like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to record this. Shut up.
Yeah, I was going to accuse you of shaking that mic that you have, but no, we're good.
Yes. No, everything's bloody temperamental. I may as well share with the viewers, actually, that I currently do have coronavirus. I do have it. It's been infecting me, and that's why I might sound not as good as usual. But it's quite funny actually. When my throat initially started like being a bit off, that I think it was a few days back from recording this podcast, and I said in the video, I'm sure I was like, "Don't worry, it's not COVID," and it turned out it was COVID. So that's depressing.
We seem to have a theme of you lying to people coming up on the... I can't remember what it was last time, but I'm sure I said the same thing.
I think you're right, actually. What happened there? Yeah.
I mean, assumedly people have picked up on the facts. Like, has anyone been messaging you like, watch one of your videos, are you okay?
I don't know. Like, yeah, it must not be coming through as much as I'm thinking. Like, maybe I'm overthinking it, or because I've watched back some and I don't sound as bad as I think I sound. So I don't know. But a podcast is different because I'm right next to the microphone. So, hello. It's probably easier. It's probably easier to pick up, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
think COVID is tangible.
But yeah, anyway, as we digress, we are here today with another episode and doing something a bit different this time. Well, it's been quite a while since the last one actually, but we have hit now 200 albums. John has heard 200 brand new albums that he pretty much never heard before this. So well done, John. Well done on your milestone. It's a very good achievement. Very good. Well
Thank
you.
Done. Yes. I mean, we say that. I think the total number of albums I've listened to in my life is about 210. So, if we knock the 10 off that I listened to before this. But no, yeah, really good. And yeah, obviously, it's felt like it's taken much longer to get here because I listened to one every day, 7 days a week in January, February when I was away from work. So obviously, coming back in, it slowed down and things, but... it has been good in some ways, so I mean, it does give you a bit more time to process some of them, I suppose. As well. I mean, if you look back over a weekend, you've done 7. You're probably not going to remember some of the finer details as much as if you've done, say, 3, which is what we're doing at the minute. So yeah, it's not all bad. It's not all bad.
No, yeah, definitely makes sense. That I think there's probably something in that, and as well, like. There's not everyone has time for that, and that's okay. Like, it's not always easy to fit in an album every day, and to be fair, to keep up even after that obviously shows that the appetite is still there, because obviously it's not like it's completely come to a halt and that's it, there's no more albums. Like, you're still keeping up with, like you say, 3, sometimes 4 a week and things, so it's definitely working out quite well. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, I mean,
and today's
it's mainly because I'm scared of what you'll do to me if I stop doing them. I'll
give you COVID. COVID.
Send a Morse code signal, a video out for help, or he won't let me stop listening to them.
Do you remember that scene in Community where the dean is dressed as the devil and he's like, gay marriage? I'm just going to break through your house and be like, coronavirus.
You could
pick up that album, bitch. Yeah, Cardi B. Oh dear.
Yeah,
but yes,
don't try that, please.
No, I won't. That would be a bit weird. But anyway, before we keep digressing, today we'll do something different because it is 200 albums, and it seemed like a good point actually for John to rank the top 15. I think we're going to go with top 15 albums that he's heard out of the 200. Because 200 is a lot. I mean, there's a varying degree of quality amongst that 200, but obviously there's enough to rank a solid top 15 that John is pretty much kept in good contact with, if that's the thing, since we started doing it, especially like his some of the albums in the top 15 I know for a fact like you still play very regularly and you still go back to songs very regularly, so it's obviously worked out really well, and there's a good batch of ones that he does love. So we're going to rank the top 15, and then once we've done that, I think we might even go to the negative side of things and do a bottom 10 as well. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Does that sound good to you, John?
I mean, do I have a choice? No, of course, yeah.
Remember what I'll do? I'll break through the door. No.
Gonna get an angry message after this, aren't I?
It's like, fuck you. No. I can't say that. I'll get demonetized. I can't say words like that. But no.
Is that
so yeah. I mean, it seems to be when you watch like bigger YouTubers who have got way more subscribers than I'll ever dream of. They seem to like when they get to a swear word, they blank it out, or they put like a noise over it, or they say like make it into a joke and like cut as they're about to say a swear word. And clearly it obviously they do it for a reason, whereas I don't seem to hold back. Like I don't swear that much in my videos, but I'll happily say if it's funny or something, I'll throw in like a shit or a piss or something, and I've never been demonetized. It's never happened to me. So that's kind of, yeah, it's quite weird.
Maybe they're just trying to not offend anyone. Maybe it comes from a nice place.
Yeah,
and they're not just money grabbers.
Yeah, we're just thinking they're here for the money. It's actually, oh no, we're just nice people. You're just shit, Ryan.
Yeah, maybe you're misjudging the audience on YouTube. Maybe they're all like middle-class white women, clutching their pearls if you say anything untoward, and this is why it's just not quite, got the momentum. Every time I swear,
it's like gasp.
Yeah, yes, maybe.
But yeah, shall we get into the top 15? Should we do it?
We better do, aren't we? We'll be here all week. Yeah, I mean, I'll kick it off. 15 is Jen's Lekman, Nightfall's Over Quartadala. And this was from the last set of 50.
Yes. Very
good. And it's aged well. I mean, I do go back to some of them, and, some have changed quite radically when I've given them, second, third, fourth listen. One of which is actually next in this list. But yeah, this is one that's consistently held when I've listened to it. Opposite of Hallelujah is still one of my favourite songs that I've gained from this. And just the tones, the instrumentals are so lovely, so dreamy, and tackles some really great issues. There isn't really a lot to complain about. It's just one of those where you're like, it's very difficult to fault.
Yeah, I definitely see what you mean with that, especially with an artist like this, where like it can just appeal to anyone. Like it's just such lovely music that's really well written. It really is just one of those albums that you just never grow tired of. I think it is just that good. Sipping on the Sweet Nectar I think is amazing. Postcard to Nina and Your Arms Around Me. Like I know you've already said Opposite Hallelujah, which is a great one, but yeah, there are some other highlights too that I think are just really wonderful. Really good at writing about feelings, isn't he? He's very good at that. He can definitely write about that just effortlessly. It's really good.
Yeah, and you can feel the experience there. I mean, sometimes you get songs where they're written and you can tell that the artist maybe hasn't actually experienced it. Maybe someone else has wrote the song,
Yeah.
And it, the emotion doesn't quite come through, and you're like, eh. But you can really tell on this that it is quite heartfelt, and I think that's part of what makes it quite endearing. And that, I mean, again, there's other albums that are coming up that have a similar sort of effect, and it's something that you can't really buy. You have it or you don't. And it just gives it that authenticity that I think's just really hard to recreate, and that's one of the reasons I really love it, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel you. Very good.
Also, I did an article at work in our monthly newsletter, and it was 5 albums that you might have missed, and this was one of them. I obviously took all the credit for it. Obviously didn't tell them that you'd given it me, why would I do that?
I can't believe it.
And I was just thinking then, I wonder if anyone actually listened to it. It's one of those things, isn't it, where it's a bit, does anyone actually pay attention? But I hope they did, because, if not, they've really missed out, actually, with this. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I hope they did. I mean, I also hope they didn't, because you didn't credit me. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I should have put a little footnote at the bottom.
Yeah, subscribe to Not Real Music.
No. Yeah, missed opportunity there.
Yes. So next, shall we go next? Number 14.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that. I was like, go on.
No. I just wanted to set it up with a dramatic number 14.
Yeah, I mean, don't quit your day job.
That's a
14 is Jeff Rosenstock, Worry. I mean, this is one we haven't mentioned before, I don't think. It came very, very early on. Might have even been a single-digit album. But it's one as well where
it was, I think.
I have changed my mind a lot on this. Like, initially, I listened to it, and obviously it is quite eclectic, maybe, as it goes on. And the sort of, is it the third quarter or so, the tracks sort of just descend into chaos a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And the first time I listened to it, I was just like, I don't know what it's doing. Like, I'm not really feeling it. I thought it was good still. I mean, I think I gave it 7.5 out of 10. But it just, it wasn't quite, buttering my parsnips. So I did go back to it, though, because it was one of those, and you get them every so often, and I'm sure you're the same with albums that you listen to, where you're like, there's a good chance that I might change my mind on this. And you just have a feeling about it, and it was one that I sort of, put a metaphorical mark against it. And then went back, and it just seemed to click a lot better. Like, I just thought it was really good. Like, the instrumentals are so strong. A lot of fun as well, even, despite the themes. And I ended up giving it a 9.5, so it was a really big turnaround. And then I think before this, because the whole 200 are ranked, it was about, I think it was about 90-ish. And really jumped up, obviously, to 14. So, really good turnaround.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, yeah, I can see what you mean. Like, that last section, it probably would be quite jarring initially. But I don't remember my first listen of the album, so I never thought of it like that when you initially mentioned it when we did the album. So, it's quite weird that. But I can see how it would do that to someone. But, I think it's fantastic. Just really of its time album as well. Like, obviously it was 2016 and it came out during all like the election stuff, and America just seemed like a very confusing place to living for quite a while, or at least that's how the media presented America for quite a while. But perhaps some people didn't really care that much, I don't really know. But it just seemed to encapsulate that perfectly. It just came out at the best time. It got all those weird sort of like everything's a weird panic attacks kind of thing. It just kind of nailed it in the music perfectly. So I've always loved it. It's held up with for me remarkably, like, since it's come out. And just a really fantastic listen. Just never fails to impress me. So it's good that it rose that much for you. It's great to see. Yeah,
we do like a good riser. I mean,
a grower.
We like a grower. I mean, some have done the opposite. For For example,
a shrinker.
Kind of shriveled up. Oh God. For example, Rina Sawayama, her album Sawayama, listened to that first time, it's like top marks. That was a 10. And I listened to it again, and something just wasn't as great as the first time I listened to it, and I listened to it a third time, and it was similar. And I was like, I don't know what was hitting me the first time, but it just wasn't quite pulling through. I mean, still great, still really fantastic, but certainly not a 10. I think that got bumped down to a 7.5. Ironically, where Jeff Rosenstock came from.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like they traded places, but yeah, sometimes it can go the other way as well.
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely, it happens all the time with me. Yeah, it's sad that it does happen, but it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. That's just how.
That's life.
Yeah, it's just how it's
you win some, you lose some.
Exactly. Exactly. So, should we move on to the next one? Am I allowed to do a voice, or was it too bad?
I mean, I'd really rather you not, but it is your channel, so I don't feel like I really can stop you.
No. I'll just say it like number 13.
Yes, have a cry. So number 13 is The National Boxer, which is one from this 50.
Yes.
I can't quite remember where, but it is a new one. And yeah, I think this is one where I looked at the cover art a bit and I was like, it could be a bit boring. Here we go. A bit like the opposite of when I looked at the cover for Ashnika and thought it was going to be great, and I thought Wales was going to come and fuck her and everything. We all remember that. And it never happened. And this was sort of the opposite. I was like, oh no, this is boring. And it played out the opposite as well. I just thought it was fantastic. I definitely didn't expect to like it as much as I did. I mean, the lyrics are very unusual. Through the whole thing, really. There's something quite unnerving about a lot of it. But yeah, strong instrumentals. Just, really something quite unsettling about a lot of the themes, which is just really good. I do like that kind of thing. I mean, Green Gloves, for example, that was a track which was a good example. That was about essentially, getting in someone's head, trying to understand them. And it's just all done in such a slightly creepy way. You could be a bit serial killery, but who knows? That's the fun. And yeah, just really somber still though, and the vocals just suit that tone so well. I just really thought it was fantastic. And some of the lyrics as well, I do like it where it sounds serious, but it can be funny. In Guest Room, for example, where he says, where we throw money at each other and cry. And I take notes for every album, and I wrote after that, bet that's what Jeff Bezos and his ex-wife did. And, it still rings true, that. And it's just things like that. They just makes you laugh a bit, even though that's not necessarily for purpose.
Yeah.
I just like it, yeah.
No, I do like stuff like that. But yeah, no, yeah, it was good. It was good to see you like this one as much as you did, actually, because I know I think it's okay, but I'm not as big on it. It's one of the ones I think we might not necessarily disagree on, but it's quite a big gap between what we feel on it. But yeah, I think for me, I think Matt Berninger's voice just sometimes fades a little bit. He's not the most expressive vocalist out there, and I think that sometimes can be a bit of an issue for me. And if I just don't quite connect to their voice, I just don't connect all that much to the music. But there are definitely some good tracks on it though, for sure. I mean, I do really like Mistaken for Strangers. I think them going in that more it's not a rocky song, but it's rockier. I think that direction for them really works. And Ada is a really lovely track as well.
Yeah, my favourite track.
That's your favourite. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, definitely a solid album, but not one I really go back to personally. But no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, you can see why. It's one of those styles, I think, that it's going to catch you or it isn't.
Yeah.
And I definitely get what you say about vocal tone. And it's weird how these things can hit people differently.
Yeah,
Because
it
in
is.
about 20 minutes or so, I'm going to read one of the bottom albums for Filth for the exact same reason. And
Filth.
You may well disagree with that. So it's interesting that it is highly personal, but that's part of, again, like I said before, it's part of what makes music really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ada, yeah, fantastic song. I have a rating system for the songs, as you know, and gold is sort of the highest, and that was a gold song, and there's only been about 14, 15 over the entire 200 odd albums, so very good, very good.
Absolutely. Very good. Next, number 12.
Yes, you didn't even attempt it that time. Fantastic. That's progress. 12 is Sharon Van Etten, Are We There? This is one of those where when you initially hear it and you hear the first 2 or 3 tracks, you're like, this is up there. Like, you just know.
Yeah.
It just clicks. You just love it. And yeah, it's just such a fantastic album. I mean, mainly based on, I think, her ability to be expressive. Her vocals are just so fantastic. Again, I Love You But I'm Lost is a track that I rated gold as well.
Yeah.
And just the emotion in her voice is just insane.
Yeah.
And the lyrics are great. Turn me into something great, just stuff like that. And even though it's quite simple, just the way she expresses it is fantastic.
Yeah.
The piano, it's just so beautifully constructed, and the whole thing just rings the same. Really, like it's just so consistent. And I always love 17 by her, which is the only reference to her I had before you gave me this album.
Yes.
And so I was expecting to like it, but it even surpassed my expectations in that sense.
No, yeah. It feels like this is one of those albums that, like, I feel like I've loved since it came out, and people were positive about it, but no one else really seemed to love it. So when I gave it you, it was great to see that you liked it. Probably maybe even a bit more than I did, actually, I think, overall, which is great. So I totally agree as well. I just think her vocals are so fantastic. Like, she can just really emote everything she says, and it just adds so much power to her voice, and it adds so much power to the lyrics, and like there's just so much like heartbreak on this one. It's really like insightful, I feel, listening to someone like have this such like extreme feelings like over like a breakup or something like that. Like, I always find albums like this so interesting in that sense. Like Your Love Is Killing Me, obviously I Love You But I'm Lost, Nothing Will Change, and then Every Time the Sun Comes Up, which closes out the album. Probably more just about her general state and general well-being, but it still is a really good track as well. Like she doesn't necessarily offer the most like unique lyrics you've ever heard in your life, but it's the way she sells them. I think that's the most important thing. And I think this is such a good album, such a good album.
Absolutely, and I think that's important with the lyrics. Like I said, it's not necessary, to be original all the time. If the other elements and the delivery and the overall effect of it is unique, and that has an angle in and of itself. This is a perfect example, actually, of one of those where, it's not necessarily going to be something you've never heard before in terms of the themes and stuff, but it's just done flawlessly.
Oh yeah,
that you don't really care.
Absolutely,
like, leave it to it. She's doing a good job. Very, very good, and definitely one of the ones I've been back to quite a bit as well.
Yeah, very nice.
Naturally.
Next one then, number 11.
Oh,
I had to do it. I had to throw it in.
Well, yeah. Never mind. It'll be over before long.
Rush it in before he gets a chance to say anything.
Number 11 is Everything, Everything, Get to Heaven, which again is a new one. very, very fun album, this.
Yeah.
I mean, I did know one song from it, which was Distant Past. And the hook on that song is just insane.
Yeah.
And it's just so nostalgic. I swear blind, this album, like, and that song particularly, like, I heard it as a kid. And it wasn't even out. And I'm like, no, that song, I remember my dad playing that song when I was in the car when I was 3. I was like, no, it wasn't even out then. It just has that kind of timeless pull to it. And it's just so good. I mean, it did wake me up as well, quite literally. I listened to this album in the morning, and the first track to the Blade sort of has a crash in.
Oh, yeah.
And I was listening to it 7:45 in the morning, and it scared the absolute life out of me. And yeah, I couldn't quite settle for an hour after that because I was just so jumpy. So, you know, it just gets straight into it. And yeah, so upbeat. But you've also got, you know, really good contrast with the lyrics, which are more serious mostly. But you have got some weirder stuff in there as well. You know, there's the bit where, you know, he calls it a craven baboon. And it's like, what? And then it's all right to feel like a fat child in a pushchair.
Yeah, I love that.
We are all fat children in pushchairs at heart. So it's just a bit bonkers in places as well. And then, yeah, my favourite track was Fortune 500, which I don't feel like many people would actually pick. I feel like there are much more obvious picks. And again, one I rated gold. I just love the atmosphere of this track. It's just so dark. It's almost maddening as well with the repetition, you know, with the I won, they've told me that I've won. It's just quite maddening. I just think it's fantastic. So yeah, such a varied album stylistically, insane vocals, fantastic, just all around fantastic, this one.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with you as well. Like, there is something so wacky and maddening about the album while also somehow being very catchy and fun and colourful. Like, it is kind of crazy. I mean, the album cover definitely depicts it perfectly, like just splashes of random colours, but also, you know, a man just like being sort of choked or something bizarrely. Like, yeah, it does. It ooh, it does.
Keep talking.
It does. God, it's fucking hell. It does do a really good job of just being unique while also like taking on its own influence as well. I feel like a lot of like British bands have tried kind of going in this more like creative direction, and none of them have ever really fully, you know, captured it like everything did on this album, I don't think. But yeah, I absolutely love it. You know, Distant Past, Regret, Spring, Sun, Winter, Dread, Fortune 500 as well. No Reptiles, just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And yeah, very creative. They're very creative. So yeah, very good pick. I do like it.
I do like very much. I mean, it's one of those as well. I think it has such a high replay value because all the tracks are so distinctive from one another. They all stand up on their own, which is fantastic as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
Very good.
Number 10, the top 10 now.
Number 10 is Jessie Ware, What's Your Pleasure?
Yes.
And I think out of the top 15, and the top 10, this is the one, in terms of raw numbers of plays, this would easily be in the lead.
Yeah.
I go back to this so much. What's Your Pleasure? The track is an absolute banger. It's just so horny. You know, you just love it. Like, every track on this is just such a banger. Soul Control. It's just so much fun. Ooh La La as well. And then, you know, you have the darker bits like The Kill, which I really like. And it's just so fantastic. I mean, this is putting it aside from the deluxe Platinum Pleasure edition, which I have listened to, but I don't consider it part of the albums because I sort of did that of my own volition. The little bit of autonomy that Ryan does give me. I use on things like this. And, you know, the tracks on that, Please was fantastic. Really liked Overtime, Hot and Heavy as well. But the rest, they were good, but they weren't quite up to the same standard as the original set of tracks.
Yeah.
So if I was including them, it would fall back a bit, maybe into the top 50.
Right.
So Platinum Pleasure, I think, was very very bold of her to assume. It's more like Bronze Pleasure, maybe Silver on a good day, but Platinum, no.
No.
But I do love her, and it is still fantastic. It just, I think it just loses a bit of something on that deluxe add-on.
Yeah. No, yeah, I definitely see what you mean. I tend to treat stuff like that as well as like separate pieces of music generally anyway. Like, I don't think, like, would you sit and listen to the entire thing from start to finish? Probably not. Especially considering like some of those platinum edition tracks aren't half as good as what her album put out. So yeah, but no, yeah, Watch Your Pleasure, yeah, definitely a good one. Very, very targeted, this pick. I remember when I gave it you, I was like, he's gonna like this, I'm just gonna give him this. Like, it's a very easy one to go with. I know he's definitely gonna enjoy what she does. But yeah, she's very sensual, very sexual as well at points, but also just really good at penning a really good pop tune. Like, just really catchy tracks on this. Definitely some of my favourites were Save a Kiss and Step In My Life as well. Is it Step Into My Life?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that one grew on me quite a lot as well. So really good album. Very, very good. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, very good. Save a Kiss, yeah, as well, one of my favourites. That drop is just fantastic.
Aye.
Very, what we'd call Dutchy.
Yeah, Dutchy.
I don't know what the kids are calling it these days. But that's what we called it back in 2007.
Ain't it Dutchy, love? Ain't it Dutchy?
Ain't it Dutchy petrol?
Oh dear.
But yes, Dutchy it is.
Dutchy it is. So number 9 is
Yes.
next. Number 9.
Number 9 is Regina Spektor,
Yeah.
Soviet Kitsch. And again, another early album, and one that's really stood well. It's just such a gritty album, and I just love her, her tongue-in-cheek approach to a lot of it, but she's also very serious with some of the themes.
Yeah.
And it's just all a very delicate balance.
Yeah.
And it just works for her fantastically. And yeah, you can, again, a bit like Sharon Van Etten, you can feel the emotions run through, but in a different kind of way. You get more, not quite anger, but, you can hear the maybe frustration, a touch of resentment on some of the tracks. And it's just little things like that you pick up on, and it really comes through.
Yeah.
But yeah, Carbon Monoxide, Chemo Limo, the whole thing really is just, it's almost perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, I say almost, I don't really know what she could have done to make it any better. But just such a fantastic album. I know, obviously, a big favourite of yours.
Yes.
Us, I know, is one of your favourite tracks. Don't want to tread on your toes.
No, sorry.
But yeah, she's just very raw, I think, on this. And it just works so fantastically. You can't really say much more than that, really.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. No, yeah, just one of my all-time favourite albums. Like, yeah, definitely. Sort of like, I think of like a gun to the head situation, and someone's like, "Hey, tell me your favourite album of all time, I'll shoot you." I'd probably go, Ashniko! No, I'd probably go, I'd probably go with Soviet Kitsch, I think. Like, it just captures so much brilliance in one album, like songwriting, piano playing. Her piano playing is really brilliant. Her vocals, the fact that she can just say things like, and you never made your wife moan, so casually, but it's just so funny, and it still like matches the rest of the track. And it's just little things like that. Like, I just find her humor to be just so brilliant, and almost like wish it was in every album, because it pops up, but I feel like this is the album where she just got a bit wacky and probably was a bit drunk while writing some of the tracks, actually. That's kind of what you're led to believe through the album cover, like where she's just like holding that beer thing, like there's just something just so yeah.
She's had a wine, she's had a glass or two.
Yeah. Yeah, husband's probably calling her Dutty as we speak. No, she does, she just captures so much in one song and like in one album. It's brilliant. And the songs just sound great as well. Like, I could talk all day about it. It really is fantastic. But yeah, Us, amazing. Some Days, really wonderful track as well. Yeah, brilliant album. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and it's a good point that you made about, working with humour in as well, because it's such a fine line.
Yeah.
I mean, a good example of that we've done is Alex Cameron.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously did Force Witness and thought it was really, really good. It's quite funny and he treads that line really well. And then did Miami Memory and it goes the other way.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like, ooh.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't do it. So it can be tricky, and she just does a perfect job on this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, number 8?
Number 8 is Bjrk.
Ooh,
Homogenic.
Bjrk.
Obviously, Vespertine isn't far up from this either. That's number 22. So it did used to be in the top 15 back in the day, back when we were saying Dutty. And I just think Homogenic is just that bit better. The instrumentals are just much more dynamic. Again, I mean, obviously a lot of these albums have gold songs on them, but Bachelorette is one of them, and probably one of my favourite tracks ever from all the albums. Just the lyricism, the tone is just also grand. The instrumental really and how her vocal style is naturally sort of suited to that, because she is very, she emphasises things and she draws them out. So it just the notes, that is, not a sword. I'm slightly confused myself there. But yes, she draws the notes out and things, so it lends itself to being more dramatic, more grand, and that song is just perfect. But Pluto as well, you've got tracks like that, it's just a bit more jarring. And yeah, I've always been a fan of Bjrk. And yeah, I think this, from her discography that I've heard, I think this is the peak.
Yeah. I agree, actually. It seems to split opinions a lot. People sometimes say this one. People sometimes say Post. People sometimes say Vespertine. Usually them three, I'd say, rotate for a lot of people. And then even Vulnicura has popped up a few times, actually, as one I've seen people say is their favourite. So obviously she does have quite an array of albums that people think are absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I don't disagree, but I think this is definitely her best for me personally. Just tracks like Unravel, Hunter, just fantastic. And the variety of production as well, like Bachelorette doesn't really sound like those ones at all. And then you've got Alarm Call, which sounds really nothing like them. And then also Pluto, which kind of baffles me as to how that was a 1997 song. Like the way they came up with that, and it's just insane, that song. That for me is my favourite track. I just get blown away by that one every time. But yeah, just pairing all that with just such a unique vocalist, I think she really was just in her prime with this album. Like, just the variety of ideas and styles that came through in the music, while also just using her own voice as its own separate, like, instrument, really, in some cases. Like, she really knows how to just sing in such a strange way, and it just adds such a layer to the songs too. Yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant, this album. My favourite Bjrk release, definitely.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing, doesn't she?
Basically.
If we're going to sum it up, she knows what she's doing. I mean, she's been around long enough. She should at this point. To be
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, to be fair.
But yeah, very good. And yeah, we'll hopefully get round to more of her stuff.
Yeah.
In due course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Number 7.
I was going to try and beat you to it then. Take one for him. Fuck it. Yes, number 7 is again Regina Spektor. Remember Us to Life.
Wow.
Which is again a new one in this latest 50.
Yeah.
And yeah, I said, Soviet Kitsch was nearly perfect. And the reason I said that is because I think this one is. This one just edges it for me. And it's interesting, obviously, you've only just done your Regina Spektor worst to best.
I have, yeah.
And obviously, you have the opposite opinion.
Not too far away, though.
Was second, and then... I'm not saying you're slating it.
No.
I'm just saying that it's 1 and 2, but the other way around.
No, I just thought the way you said opposite, it was like, well, you think it's like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, you slated this album.
I shat on it.
3 out of
massive
10.
Dump.
Yeah, even Ashnikko looked good compared to it. But yes, and the reason I think I like this one more is it's a lot more mature.
Yeah.
And her songwriting is fantastic. And just some of the themes she tackles and how she does it is insane. Bleeding Heart, for example, in that track she says, 'cause you won the war so it's not your turn, but everything inside still burns. And she's talking about, seeing someone go through something that you have and you've come through it, but you're not able to help them.
Yeah.
And obviously, as you know, I have anxiety, and that's very similar.
Yeah.
Because what works for one person doesn't work for another, and you can see people struggling to find what works for them, and you know what works for you, but it just doesn't. You can't get them there. Naughty. They have to make their own. There's a very quick tone change, and it's stuff like that I think just makes this so fantastic. And there's things on depression that she brings as well. In the line, she says, "I know there's nothing wrong. I shouldn't feel so down. So many things I know, but they don't help me."
Yeah,
and it's
that's
just
the line there.
Not even just it being about that kind of mental health stuff, but the detail is there as well. And I really, really love albums that really get into that. And it just runs through the whole thing. And then you've got the themes in there. There's, the big ones are sort of mortality, memory, recollection. And it's just so good.
Yeah.
She does have, I think Small Bills that sounds a bit more like Soviet Kitsch than the others do anyway. And it's nice to have that kind of link there. But yeah, it's good 'cause, again, that highlights her development as well. Not that she needed to develop from Soviet Kitsch, but it suits what I like slightly more, I think.
Yeah.
I like that maturity. And then, Jesus Christ, like in The Visit at the end, and she rounds it off and, she's like, "I'm so glad you stopped by." And it feels like, she's sort of waving you out from listening to the album. And it's such a clever thing to do. Instrumentals are beautiful, strings, everything, so gorgeous, really faultless. And this was a solid 10.
Of course, yeah, everything I agree with, really. Just really beautifully written album. It's very overlooked in that sense, like in terms of her writing on this one. So her writing was always very good, but she just tapped into something very new on this one, I feel like, with the way she words certain things. I mean, you've highlighted some of those lines there. There's some really fantastic ones. The way she kind of like goes about with obsolete as well is fantastic. Grand Hotel is beautifully written, black and white. Sellers of Flowers too has a really unique theme as well. Just so many things that she touches on, and everything just seems like it's coming from a place of like growth, and like she's hit an age where she just has so much to say about everything. And it's a shame that it's been like 5 years since this came out, because I feel like, you know, we could get even more music that has this kind of wiseness to it that I really want to hear more of. But yeah, I've always loved that about The Visit too, where it just kind of feels like, yeah, like you say, it's like she's waving you off. But that's my favourite track, I think. Although I could say that, you know, I could have any of them as my favourite tracks, honestly. It is a brilliant album. But yeah, very overlooked in that sense. In terms of like singer-songwriter albums, I feel like this one needs to be talked about a lot more than it is. But yeah, it's fantastic. Fantastic.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
She knows what she's doing.
She really does. I did look on Wikipedia actually to see if she was doing a new album, and there was nothing. I was like,
yeah, nothing.
You know,
no hint.
I've tried Wikipedia.
Anyway.
That's it.
The hot spot for all information.
Yeah, if it's not on Wikipedia, it never happened.
Exactly. Yeah. Very good. So number 6, I'll beat you.
Yes, indeed you did. Number 6 is Fiona Apple, When the Porn Hits.
Say the whole title, please.
If only we had the time, Ryan. And again, it's one where we have done, you know, 2 albums of this artist. Fiona Apple, Fetch for Bolt Cutters is number 20, actually, not that far up, which is more of a recent one. But When the Porn Hits, it's very easily summed up, actually. I think every song just hits what it's supposed to do. It's interesting. It's engaging. She's just such an incredible vocalist. She's an incredible songwriter as well. And I think it's as simple as that, really. She's just incredible at what she does. She knows what she's doing, and you just thoroughly enjoy it. It's one of those where you listen to it and you're just like, wow, at every song, and you're like, oh, surely the next one's got to drop a bit, and it just never happens. So yeah, I think, you know, that just speaks for the whole thing, really. Like, that's the first thing I think when I think of this album, is just flawless.
Yeah. I definitely agree. This is one of my favourite albums, again, ever, actually. She's brilliant. On the Bound, really fantastic as well. Like, Limp as well is really fantastic as well. Like, she kind of takes like a bit more of like a rougher approach to her voice, whereas Regina is often quite like softer and even sometimes quite whimsical. Fiona is more willing to kind of just be in your face and a bit harsher with her delivery and stuff, and I think that really comes through a lot of the time. Well, also just being really well written tracks about breakups and men that did her wrong and stuff, which gets
slutty men.
At it again, which only really gets darker as her career goes on. But I think there was something about this album that felt like, I don't know what's different about this one, actually. I can't quite work out. Maybe it's just the production that I like more, but I think lyrically you could argue like Fetch the Bolt Cutters is written better technically in that sense, but I think just the production from start to finish on this one is just really well put together, so I think that's what helps it win. But I absolutely love Get Gone. I feel like Get Gone's quite an underrated one. Not many people bring that one up. But that is one of my favourites on there. But yeah, brilliant album.
Yes, very good. And I do agree on the lyrics, actually. I do think, Fetch the Bolt Cutters is edgy in that sense. Yeah. I mean, there are weaker moments on it, but, you know, her weakest moment is still very, very good.
Yeah, it really is.
So you can't really grumble.
No.
Yes, very good, very good.
Oh, top five now?
Top 5, yes. Well, we'll group 5 and 4 together
in
the interest of time, because they're very similar. 5 is Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City, and 4 is Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly. I don't want to spend too much time on these, because I know we spoke about them at length
we have
the first podcast.
We did,
But phenomenal, really. I mean, very simple to say, like the storytelling and just the structuring. And you have so many albums, I think, that try and replicate the things that Kendrick does on both of these.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, like the skits at the end and trying to tie it all in, and it just doesn't work. And it just works so well on these, and you feel, again, similar to a lot of the artists that have made the top 15. Again, you know, you feel the experience in there, you feel the passion, and you really get into it. And just the flow and his delivery on both is just exceptional.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that just plucked To Pimp a Butterfly out was that storytelling, that structuring, you know, that looping the whole thing together with that, you know, butterfly development sort of theme, that just edged it for me.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But yeah, phenomenal albums, both of them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I do think To Pimp a Butterfly wins. I mean, that's certainly in, you know, my highest albums of all time and stuff. Good Kid, Mad City is still brilliant as well, but I think, yeah, there's something about To Pimp a Butterfly that just floors me every time. Like, every time I hear it, I'm just like, wow, he came up with this, and the music is brilliant. Like, there's some really fantastic, like, catchy moments. It never bores you. There's some really interesting instrumentals. Like, the production is just absolutely top notch, and yeah, it feels like a moment in music. I feel that album, like, we'll be talking about it in 20 years in ways we might not necessarily be talking about other albums. There's just something about it that feels like it's got that to it. And Good Kid, Mad City is fantastic in its own right as well. So yeah, Kendrick is just one of a kind.
Absolutely, yeah. Really surprised. And again, I said in the first podcast, but I didn't expect to like rap as much as I have done.
Yes.
And these are two of the albums I think that have cemented it.
Yeah.
Along with the next one, which is coming as well.
Yes. Go for it.
Which is... yeah, so number 3 is Injury Reserve Floss.
Yes.
I mean, technically a mixtape.
Yeah.
But, you know, we don't judge. we're inclusive, you know. You ain't got to just be an album to be involved. Again, so much... You know, we've got an agenda. So much fun, this. And I actually... This is probably the most recent one I listened to.
Yeah.
Again, out of this list, I listened to it, it's about 2 nights ago. And yeah, just so much fun. Like, oh shit, you know, eeny meeny, is it eeny meeny miny or miny mo, or is it eeny meeny? I can't remember. But yeah, it's just so much eeny meeny money. I tell you. But yeah, all this money, obviously, like, just such a bang. Like, it's just so fun, just so powerful. And it's one of those where I think when you listen to it, you like genuinely have a good time.
Yeah.
Because it's just so bouncy, it's just so fun, and the delivery again, it's so dynamic, so full of personality. And it's interesting. I listened to the new track, and obviously this is the only reference point I have for them at the moment.
Oh yeah.
And you can't really see a lot of parallels because it's a much darker.
Oh God, yeah.
Track, much darker direction. So I'm interested to see in their new album how it holds up. Because to me, anyway, I appreciate, obviously, you know, if you've heard all the discography, this won't be the case. But to me, I see them as that fun, bouncy, you know, rap artists where it's really buoyant.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if I will like the darker stuff as much, which will be interesting. But yeah, fantastic.
I see what you're saying.
Fantastic.
It does seem like a very new direction, so it's very hard to tell what the album's going to sound like overall. It is really difficult to see, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But yeah, Floss at the moment is their best for me. Really love this one. Just so replayable, so fun, so just energetic. Like, the hooks on this are just some of the best I think I've heard in rap in recent years. The lyrics aren't necessarily always the most intricate or anything like that. There's no Kendrick lyricism on this at all, or even, you know, anything of that kind of caliber, but they don't necessarily need to be that good. But when they get it right, though, they really get it. Like, on tracks Keep Slipping and Look Mama, I Did It, like, they really hit the emotions really well. And there's they don't need to always do that, because they're fun. They have a lot of swagger to them, and it makes tracks like "Oh Shit," "All This Money," and "What's Goody" just such big bangers that I can't believe haven't been more mainstream than they were. Like they're just such there's such potential for that kind of thing with them. So yeah, it's interesting to see where they're going, but a really fantastic album for me. So now number two.
Yes. By the way, when you said "look, mama," I did it there. You said "mama" like Laganja Stranger, you're like "mama." Yes,
Look,
mama.
Look, mama.
Anyway, back to the point at hand. Yeah, number 2 is Roisin Murphy, "Overpowered."
Yes.
Oh my god! Again, another one. I think this is probably second behind "What's Your Pleasure" in terms of raw plays.
Yeah.
The title track is just so fun. "Cry Baby," lyrically simple as the day it was made, but the beat is just so strong. It's just such a bop. Love that. Honestly, there's just so much on this album to love and just to get hooked in by body language, parallel lives. It's just lots of fun. And yeah, lyrically it isn't the best, but I just enjoy this so much.
Yeah.
And, that's what music ultimately boils down to, isn't it?
Oh, God, yeah.
I just think the arrangements are very clever. The whole thing keeps interesting. None of the tracks seem that repetitive, which I think with electronic style music can be quite difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, people definitely have a perception of what that is, and it's all just like, and obviously it's not. But, we will teach the children. But yeah, it's just so much fun. Cry Baby actually was gold. And it is a bit of an odd one out in that sense because it is very lyrically simple. But yeah, just absolutely fantastic. Love the whole thing.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, big fan of Roisin. I really like her. And I knew you'd like her too, so that was why I targeted this one towards you as well. Because Injury Reserve, I was like, I don't think he's going to like this. So we'll see how it goes. But you ended up absolutely loving it. So sometimes my expectations are completely flattened. But Roisin, I was like, no, he's got to like this one. And yeah, just a really underrated pop album from the 2000s. Like, there's really nothing you can fault with it in that sense. Like, every track is high energy, like electro pop stuff that's very synth heavy. Just a really great vocalist at the front of them all. Really charismatic, really great choruses. It just all pops, and it's just everything you want in a pop album, basically, I think. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic album also.
Of course. Indeed. And then you have that cover art, which is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Like, it is such a mood. I want to feel like I'm sat in a restaurant in a red latex suit, with a bobble weird hat thing on, and just be like, not giving any fucks. And there's a guy in the back like looking at her like, what's this bitch doing? And she's just living. And I think we all can learn something from Vocal. We all need to be Roisin Murphy in that cafe and just not give a fuck.
We do. We really do. We really do. But it is time for number one. But yes. The big reveal.
Yes, it is. So, number one. This might not be much of a surprise, to be fair. But it is Jason Isbell, Southeastern.
Yes.
For obvious reasons. And again, I've said this before, I think, but it was album 1.
Yeah.
Very first. And, sometimes I think, oh, were you just, a bit overly sentimental because it was the first one? Were you always going to really love the first one? And when I listened to it again, I was like, no, it definitely is the best.
Yeah.
It's just such a phenomenal country album. And again, the depth to the lyrics and the themes, it's just so emotional. I mean, I remember the first time I heard Elephant, and it was one of the very, very few tracks that's ever really knocked me back a bit. And it's just so difficult to convey that in music sometimes, and his tone and everything. You can feel, again, the pain. And I've said that a lot about these artists, and it is what makes the difference in a lot of cases between a good artist and a bad artist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the point. but so fantastic. And then, it's not all down and depressing. Stockholm's relatively upbeat. Super 8's quite a fun track, I think.
Yeah.
Don't wanna die. I mean, that's not particularly cheery. But that was a bad part to pick. But the beat, it's much more upbeat. Traveling alone, again, more somber. You can really feel the emotion, and it's as simple as that. I think when you say, is there an overly complex reason why it's top white beats everything else, and it is literally as simple as it gets across what it wants to do, and it's just so powerful at doing it.
Absolutely.
And it is literally that simple.
Yeah. No, yeah, you absolutely nailed it. I can't really add anything to that, really, but it is a brilliant album. Cover Me Up is probably my favourite track.
Yes.
Again, just the emotion behind that guy's voice is sensational, really. Relatively easy, wonderful track too. Just really whenever you want something that's quite somber but also reflective and really detailed with the lyrics, I can't really say you'd go wrong with Jason Isbell at all. Like, he really has a unique perspective on so many things, even beyond this album too. There are tracks on his album from, was it last year, Reunions, that he did? Overseas, that's a really well put together track that's unique and has a unique perspective as well. So he just is one of those songwriters that will give you that with everything he puts out, and this just for me is his best work. I can't really go wrong with this one at all.
I really am a huge fan of him. I mean, obviously, Reunions is one that I've done. I think in the last 50 as well. I didn't think it was as strong as this. Something isn't quite powerful.
No.
But I did give it a 9 out of 10. So, it's still good. Of course. Still very good. In terms of the ranking, I can't quite remember where it is. Oh, no, it's there. I have just looked at my list. It's 59. So out of 200, that's still almost in the top quarter. So, you can't really grumble at that, especially when this album's number one.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
definitely had a good outing.
Of course.
But I love Cover Me Up as well. Phenomenal writer, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, shall we segue into? Do you want to do the bottom? Should we do the bottom 10?
Yeah, we can do sort of speed.
Yeah, I mean
speed round.
Yeah. You could list out the 10, and then we could just pick out a few that we go back to and talk more in detail. Should we do that? Would that work? Yeah. Would that work?
What I'll do for you. Right.
What I'll do for you.
I'll list them and I'll give a brief comment on what I thought of it. We'll take it from there.
Yes.
10 was Flo Milli, Ho Wise You Here. Excuse Me Beach. I like that song. I do like Excuse Me. It's just quite sassy, but the rest is just so angry. It's like telling me off. Alex G, House of Sugar.
Oh my! I've just realised how spicy that one is. Actually, I hope some, because I know a few people that love Alex G, so I hope they're listening. Because that's a spicy one.
I'll reserve judgment on that one. Katy Perry, Smile is number 8. It's pop trash, but it's not that pop or nothing pops.
Nothing pops.
Yes. 7 is Nothing Great About Britain by, is it Slow Tie?
More like Nothing Great About This Album. Woo.
Yeah, I think I actually said that.
Oh, did you?
It's just a bit. It's just I was like, no, don't need this. 6, I think. 6. I've lost my number. Yes, 6 is Vince Staples' Big Fish Theory.
Ooh.
Didn't land any kind of impression on me at all, that one, which was a shame. 5, I'm not doing well at keeping up, is Liz Phair, Exiling Guyville.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god. her tone on this, I was like, I've never seen the delivery kill lyrics off.
Yeah.
In such a way as this does. Like, the lyrics actually aren't bad at all, but her delivery's just so bloody dull.
It is.
And I remember at one point she's like, if you do it and you're still unhappy in the lyrics, I was like, you sound unhappy anyway. And I was like, let's, cut the crap. Whatever happens, you're not, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to sound it. Let's not get bogged down in semantics. For Brockhampton Saturation.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of potential, but just a bit all over the place. And yeah, just didn't work for me at all. Lana Del Rey, Chemtrails Over the Country Club, number 3.
Ooh, yeah.
I love Lana, but this made me want to shoot myself. It's just so dull. Like, it's just so dull. It's like, you want something nice, and it's just so dull. And I am a Lana fan. Well, I don't know if I say that anymore. I was a Lana fan. Loved Born to Die. I think that's fantastic. But this not doing it for me. Number 2, Roisin Murphy. Not technically, but Crooked Machine. I hate remix albums. I don't know why. They're just very rarely done well. Especially with this kind of music, it doesn't need a remix. So really, really wasn't feeling that fantasy. The only thing crooked was the album, ironically. And then obviously in pole position, worst album of the 200 is Ash Nico, Demi Devil. Although I still remember, she didn't try to make her come, and I still remember that. So she has won, really, hasn't she? Like, she's won the war.
Legendary.
But yeah, I mean,
yeah, she won.
All of them have some kind of redeemable quality, and the take the piss a bit, but there is pros to everything, and it is nice when people see those. But for me, the negatives in these just far outweighed the positives, especially in those last 4 or 5.
Interesting list, though. It's very diverse. Like the the bottom 10 it's quite a diverse array of albums there, really. I mean, you've got Liz Phair, and then you've got Lana Del Rey, and then you've also got Flo Milli. Like, you can see that they're all...
It's not a bad joke, isn't it? Liz Phair, Flo Milli, and Lana Del Rey walking to the bar.
And they said, excuse me, bitch. It kind of shows that each of them can offer something bad for different reasons, which is interesting, which I like. But do I like any of those? I don't think I actually do. I used to like Big Fish Theory. I think over time the ideas just waned on me. I thought what he was trying to go for didn't end up coming across. Like, I think he should have done another album where he tried to fix some of the issues, and then I think it would have been really good. But yeah, Big Fish Theory didn't really stick with me. Slow Tie, don't mind that one. I don't really particularly like it. There's some good tracks that I do like, though. I think Doorman's good. Lana Del Rey's most recent one, Chemtrails, pretty boring to me. Really underwhelming. And yeah, that's all I can really add to that. I mean, Katy Perry, is anyone listening to Katy Perry now? I think that one's pretty universally like, this one's a bit boring, isn't it?
She's cancelled.
No.
Not because she said anything, just because she's a bit naff. But, it happens to the best of us.
Exactly, yeah. We all have a bad day.
Yeah, it's one of those albums when you gave it me, and sometimes when you give me an album, I'm like, oh, oh God, I'm going to have to listen to this. And it was the same with Crooked Machine, because I just know that I hate remixes. And I don't know why. I mean, it isn't a blanket thing, really. Like, there are some very good examples of good remixes. Spectrum by Florence. Is that Calvin Harris?
Yeah.
Summertime Sadness, Lana Del Rey, which I think also is Calvin Harris, actually. Maybe I just like Calvin Harris.
Maybe.
But yeah, it can be done really well. There's a St. Lucia remix of Fruit by Marina of Diamonds, which is, one of my favourite artists. Was. need to reassess where she stands. But Through, obviously, still one of my favourite tracks of all time. That remix is pretty good. So it isn't a blanket, but it just seemed to be the general, the general direction that it goes in. I do need to go back to some, maybe just to cement that they are sort of deserving of that place. Just in the same way I would with the top ones. Because, like you said, sometimes opinions do change and it can take you a different way. I mean, House of Sugar could actually be a good example of that. And I'm not saying that just because I'm scared of being cancelled. But
I think you might be saying it because you're scared of being cancelled.
I'm backtracking. I mean, there was like a good run of 3 tracks in that. Hope, Southern Sky, Gretel, I thought were really good.
Yeah, to be fair, they were probably the best ones. Gretel was probably the best track for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There was definitely potential in what he was doing with that album. I just thought like tracks like, what is it, Cow? Is that one Cow?
It is,
one
yeah.
called Cow? That was so stupid.
Very odd theme.
And something just felt a bit off about that album for me. But again, I know people love it, so it's pretty much, I mean, people love Lana's album. Lana has a big fan base, so it's just preferences. We all have different preferences.
Exactly, yeah, and that's what makes it so good. There'll be someone out there somewhere, heaven forbid.
Oh God, yeah.
Where my bottom 10 will be their top 10, and my top 10 would be their bottom 10.
Their bottom 10.
I dread to think what such a person would do with their life, but no, I mean, but yeah, that would be fine. As long as there's reasons, and people have different experiences, so people naturally gravitate towards different things, and that's part of what's great. And yeah, it is so specific. I mean, again, with House of Sugar, it can be quite chaotic, and I didn't think it's very dynamic, but because it is chaotic, that will be very dynamic to some people. So that's the good thing. But yeah, maybe go back to at least that one. The other is Big Fish Theory, where I'm not as confident to say it's bad. I mean, to be fair, looking at House of Sugar, I rated more of the songs positively than negatively.
But just the
overall effect was just low, and so maybe it is worth going back to. Maybe Ashnika is worth going back to. I mean, it's not, but in some parallel universe, it might be. And if you ever say to me, "Why do you listen to that again?" I'll be like, "No, you can find someone else to do this. I'm not putting myself through that again."
The goal for me going forward, maybe not anytime soon, but I need to find something that'll top Ash Nico, something that will be the worst. That needs to happen, I think. But we'll see how much I can challenge myself to do that. That's got to be something that's got to be done.
And I will live in fear until that day comes.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the heads up. On an unrelated note, I think this is probably it now. We're on 209 at the minute, I think, aren't we? 209's next. Nice number to stop on.
Yes, as they say.
Yes. I'd say 210, but there's the risk you could pull one in.
I could sneak it in. I could do it.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Well, on that note, I think we are at the end of this episode here. So yeah, it's been great. It's been really interesting to rank the ones. I mean, I knew the rankings actually before. I didn't say that, but I did actually know them. I'm sorry, listeners, I did know them. But it was just good to hear. I know, more lies.
More lies and more
covers. It was just good to hear your thoughts and discuss it a bit more in detail. Get the listeners to know a bit more as well about your ranking too, your favourites and your least favourites. It's been good. It's been a good, fun episode.
Of course,
so,
yeah. And it may well change.
Thank you as always.
It
may well change, yeah. I'm sure by the next 50 you'll have a different placement for some of them, and some new ones will jump in, yeah. I'm sure.
We'll see. Depends what shit you give me.
We'll see.
Watch this space.
We'll see. But yeah, thank you as always, John. Thank you for joining me.
Of
Hope
course.
you've had fun.
Yes, yeah. It's one way to spend a Friday night.
Fuck's sake. I swear every time we end one of these, you're like, well, could be doing something better with my life, but you know.
Yeah, the things you do for
and you
friends,
still come back you still come back for more.
Always.
No, but yeah, thank you as always. Thank you for listening, everybody. Let us know your thoughts in the comments of the albums that John has ranked.
Unless it's about
what you think of them.
Unless it's about House of Sugar, we don't need to know about that.
For God's sake. You're gonna force us to cut this out of the bloody podcast this part now. But yes, okay, yes. John's scared. Yes, we get it. Make sure you bully him. Make sure you do it. And thank you for listening. Have a good evening, everybody. Good day, good morning, good night, and goodbye. Goodbye.